All right. Welcome, everybody, to today's office hours. My name is Mark Stepp. Going to be going through, wow, some question and answers about last week's email authentication. I know a lot of people um, have been doing great at this. Oh, Kathleen, I need you to, if you don't mind. There. No? Let me do it for you. All right. Last week we went through the email authentication and what all was required there. A lot of you have been doing great going through that. I have gotten a lot of questions, so I want to make sure I covered those questions and then just use this as a Q&A time for pretty much anything else that you guys may have questions on. So we're going to go through email authentication and more. So for those that don't know me, my name is Mark Stepp. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer here at Realvolve. 33 years of helping real estate agents with technology and really kind of creating a sustainable business. And in today's economy, the things that worked a few years ago, have to be adjusted. So, how do you adjust those within technology and the way technology is changing? So I help to explain a lot of the why. Again, we're going to go over the kind of the rule changes, some of the topics. I don't want to go as in depth, but I do want to cover some of the questions that were dealt with post last week's office hours. I do want to make sure that if you did not see last week's office hours and you want to go through that, you can go to realvolve.com/office hours. And basically what that does is that takes you into this screen right here. You can see last week's is listed in the list. One of the things that you can do, of course, you can just click on this watch on YouTube. It'll take you to our YouTube channel and you can see all the stuff. If there's any kind of content, and this one does have it, if there's any kind of content that I put into the description area of the video itself, you'll need to go to the YouTube channel itself, go into the description, and there's links and clicks and things that you can do, more descriptive stuff that you can access. But it's really important that you guys do the email authentication. Otherwise, and it has already started, it was kind of a February 1st, we're going to start dealing with it, but cutoff technically isn't until June, from what I understand. So you can get to previous office hour items by clicking on the little hamburger 3 menu item here. Click on that and you can just kind of scroll through and see all the different office hours that we've had through the last couple of years. A lot of great content there. And if you want to learn something, you've got some time at home, nothing else better to do. I'm sure there is something else better to do, especially guys. Just reminder, guy notification here. It's Valentine's Day, so if you have not gotten your flowers and candy or whatever it is that you do, it's time to do it. Now's the time. Anyway, service announcement over. Make sure that you go through this last week's, the February 7th requirements, just to make sure that you're set up if you've not been through that in the past. So we're going to go through some of those questions and stuff. One thing I do want to do is just a quick recap on what are the requirements, making sure that you guys understand this is a big deal in trying to reduce the amount of spam, the amount of unwanted emails that everybody gets. Basically, Google decided that they were going to put a stop to it, or at least try to, and put up some requirements. Yahoo followed right in line with them and said, yep, we're going to do the same thing. So what it basically means is within your domain, and there's a key word there, your domain, 2 words, your domain. You have to do some setups. And what that means is going in to your DNS records for your domain and setting up. There's four elements that you need to add to it, and it's not hard to do. It's just a small process. So we have to set the SPF records, the DKIM records for authentication. There's some rules on IP forwarding that really doesn't do much, doesn't really matter for us as far as Realvolve's concerned, but some other rules for the PTR records. Then the spam rate. I did get some questions on the spam rate, making sure that those are reduced. How do you check that? We're going to go over that. The formatting, whenever Realvolve creates your emails, we put them in a correct format for you. The RFC 5322. Don't have to worry about it. It's done for you. The other thing is you can't impersonate Gmail headers, which we don't do. Set up a DMARC, and DMARC is, and we'll talk about DMARC. It's basically for how do you handle emails that are a problem. And then for direct mailers, making sure the from header must have an SPF and DKIM alignment, make sure that they're in there properly, and then having a one-click unsubscribe. So all of these things that are requirements as part of the email itself going out is something that we do for you. We make sure that we've done it for years. The thing that has changed is that you have to make some changes in your DNS records in order for those to be validated so that they know who you are and that Realvolve is sending on your behalf. And whether it's Realvolve or if you're using MailChimp or Constant Contact, any of those mailer type softwares that's out there, if you're using them to send mail on your behalf, it's something you're going to have to do for each one of us. Each provider has to be authenticated or authorized to send on your behalf. So those are the rules. And what I want to do is kind of go over some of the questions. Now, if you guys have questions along this, just unmute yourself, ask away. If it pertains to this, I want to stick to the email authentication parts first, and then after that we can open up to whatever questions that you may have as well. Fair enough? Good. All right, so first question. If I have already done this for FirePoint, do I have to do it for Realvolve? Yes. So both FirePoint and Realvolve are separate products. Technically, we do use the same provider, which is SendGrid for sending out emails, but a lot of software uses SendGrid. So it's a matter of making sure that that particular provider who's sending through SendGrid has your approval to be sending. So you do have to go in and set up for whatever product that you have. And again, it's really important that we're talking about your subdomain. If you're sending from, if your email is, mark@realvolve.com, that's mine. Okay. If I'm letting software send out through that, through SendGrid, but it's assuming it's me, I have to let the system know that SendGrid is allowed to send as me. Otherwise, it could be somebody from Timbuktu, China, Russia, whatever. And those bad actors are out there. They're sending stuff all the time, fishing for information, and it's really bad. So this is Google's attempt and Yahoo's attempt to get through this and not have to worry about bad actors as much. This was a big one. I use Gmail and your form says it's not for Gmail. What do I do? Okay, guys, this is for your domain. Who owns Gmail? You don't. It's a Google domain. And if you have a Gmail, mark at, I do have a Gmail account, mark.step@gmail.com. I can't change the Gmail DNS records. They won't do it. They can't let us do it. So I cannot use that domain as part of sending through Realvolve or any other product, because we have no way to do the verification, the authentication. So if you have a Gmail account, a Yahoo account, we did get the question on, I'm part of a franchise, and you don't really control that franchise's domain. And if Keller Williams, Remax, Cole Banker, you're going to have to reach out to them and say, can you add this information so that it can send? Otherwise, it's going to go straight to Gmail or to spam. And that's the challenge. So if you have a franchise email, you need to get with your franchisor and or franchisee and make sure that the information's added to their DNS. Otherwise, you really need to be looking at getting your own email. And I know there's all kinds of requirement things going on there, but they need to, because of this change, I would really suspect that they need to do some changes on their policy level in order to let you do that. What happens if I don't do this? It's like, well, it'll go straight to spam starting in June. Basically, you must comply with these rules. It's not something that Realvolve has control over or anything. It has to be done. So yeah, there's that. So I guess they were a little bit more technical. They wanted to know, what was SPF. SPF is the Sender Policy Framework, SPF. It basically specifies which servers can send emails on behalf of your domain. It's used to determine if the email being sent is from the owner that owns that domain or an authorized provider sending on their behalf. So that's all it is, just a policy that you specify some information inside your DNS that says that's allowed. The other one was the DKIM, Domain Keys Identification Mail. What it is, it's a different thing, but it's very similar in some aspects, is it adds a signature line, actually a couple signature lines inside the header of your email, that whenever you send it, it puts that in there. And then whenever whoever is receiving that email, whenever they receive the email, it's decrypted. It's using cryptography, and it decrypts it to make sure that nothing's been tampered with. What can happen is you're sending out an email from your server. It goes through multiple points of other servers until it gets to the endpoint. What if there's a bad actor in between? And basically, if somebody in between changes something, the signature will tell it that it's that there's been a problem with it, and at that point, a indicator comes back to the originating server saying, "Hey, we can't accept this," or some other policies can be applied, but it's basically what it is. The other one is DMARC. So the domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance. So all this is saying, okay, if I get a bad email, if I'm sending an email from Realvolve, from SendGrid, or even from your own Outlook or whatever, if you're sending it it goes to somebody, it should come back as being a good email. Okay. If a bad actor is sending and they're impersonating you, then there's going to be a big red flag. Hey, something's not right. What do you want me to do with it? So DMARC is the setting that says, how do you want to do it? The minimal effort needs to be set to p equals none, which is the setting that we specified last week, and we showed kind of how to do that. There is a quarantine, there is a reject. Basically, if you want to go ahead and let it send on, you just want to be monitored. You want to be notified and let it monitor that email to notify you, hey, somebody's sending on your behalf. Are you good with that? Do you need to authenticate them, or are they a bad actor? There's a way to monitor that and get that. You can say, well, if you get a bad one, just quarantine, just send it spam. I don't want to do anything with it, or reject it. Don't allow it, and they'll just reject it. So the DMARC basically just helps the person at the end know, or the server at the end know, how do you want me to deal with any emails that are bad? A lot of technical stuff there. You may not want to know, but somebody did, so I'm putting it in there. The big one, we got several questions on this, was how do I know that I'm keeping less than 3%, 0.3% on spam? And there are Postmaster tools that can do that. So I want to go through that and make sure that you guys know what to do in those cases. So the first thing that you can do to know whether or not you are in compliance, one of those rules that I had read earlier was the fact that you have to have your spam rates below 0.3%. Okay, so how do you do that? You can go to postmaster.google.com. At that website, you can click on the little red button to add a domain name. You add your domain name. You add it. It'll give you some specifications. We're going to go through that, and then you just put those specified values in your DNS, and then you go through the authentication. So what does that look like? So let me go ahead. I'm going to go back into slideshow mode here. So whenever you go to postmaster.google.com, you can click on the little red button. It'll come up with this first screen, step one. So you just enter your domain, whatever it is, yourdomain.com. Again, this is not gmail.com. This is not yahoo.com. It's whatever your personal, you own it type domain. Ours would be realvolve.com. You put that in and you click on next. What it will do is it will give you a Google site verification code that has to be put into your DNS. And if you don't know how to do this, you can send it to your technical person. This is not something we can help you with. We can't log into your DNS to do things. This is something that's technical more on your end, but it's actually simple. If you've got GoDaddy, if you've got some of the typical ones out there, they have a DNS area. You go into the DNS area, there's a list, and you just add a few entries. It's just text is all it is. So you would put the TXT record in with this content and then hit save in there. Once it's saved, then you would click on verify. Let me show you how that basically looks. So in ours, and I don't know that it really matters or not, but I went ahead and blurred out some of it. But we use what's called Cloudflare. It is a DNS server editor, and inside of that, it had a place. I click on the little plus. It said, okay, what type is it? Well, the type in this message was TXT. So I just click on the little down arrow and I chose TXT. What's the site name? In this case, realvolve.com was our site name. And then the content part of it, it could be value, could be content, whatever it is. This is the name field. there'll be a content or a value field, and then you'll paste in whatever that code is that's here. This is a different one than what we're using. I'm just showing you what we've got. So once you've done that, you hit OK, you save it, then it's in your DNS. Once it's in there, then you're going to come back to the step 3, and you're going to click on the verify button. Once you click on verify, at that point, it will go out and check to make sure this verification information is in there and it's the same value. And then once that is good, then it'll say that it's good. So you'll get a little verified option, and you're all good. Once you've got that, then you can go into Postmaster Tools at any time, and there's a spam rate option that you can see what is your spam rate, and again, you want to stay under that 3%, which kind of shows you here. I think the next one, the next one shows kind of the list on each day. If you sent out emails, did you get any kind of spam? You know, on the 10th, we actually sent some. We sent some stuff about a webinar that we're doing, and we got some people called it spam. So, you know, whatever that number is, it is. I do want to go live on this just to kind of show you around in there. So let me go back on this and go to here. So this is postmaster.google.com. Once you have set up, actually, just go back one here. Once you have done the verification and stuff, it will put it in as verified. And this is a new record, new version of it, so it just put it in yesterday. But what this does then is whenever I click on this, then it will bring up information about the spam rates, all that kind of stuff. So you can see that, no big deal. There are other things, IP reputation, you know, do you have a good high reputation? This is important for your domain itself. The reputation is everything for you guys. And the lower the reputation, meaning you're sending out spam and people are reporting it as spam, the lower this gets, the higher the likelihood that Google, Yahoo are going to start putting more of your stuff into the spam folder. And ultimately, at some point, if it gets low enough, they'll stop allowing it at all. So make sure that you don't send spam. Make sure that you comply to the things. There's all kinds of things that you can do to make sure what the values are. But the main thing there is that spam rate and making sure that it stays under. And I think it's, you know, per month. So even a high one, even if you do get a high one, it averages out over the month, and you'll be okay, I think. I'm a little bit, I'm doing some research on that just to see, but if it gets very high for very long, they'll start addressing that. So something to look at. All right. So this got another question that was dealing with emails in general. And this is something we are addressing, and I want to make sure that you guys know, and I'm asking for input as well on this. This particular person says, I'm sending out 2 monthly emails, one to my farm, the other with my neighborhood information, general email newsletter. If someone unsubscribes from one, then they unsubscribe from both. So this is a problem because of all of this unsubscribe piece. It's really becoming more of an issue, and we are in the process of changing this. So right now, whenever you go into Realvolve, let me go in here. We have this send via. Send via marketing, you know, is it a marketing type email or is it transactional? And in the past, we've always kind of lumped newsletters and farming and all these different things as marketing. I mean, technically that's what it is, but it's not specific enough. It's not specifically tailored to a particular type of marketing or whatever. If somebody might want to unsubscribe from your neighborhood farm stuff, but they do want to get your newsletter, that is where the problem begins. So one thing that we are in process of doing is adding in additional email options. One for newsletter, one for listings. So like for your new listings that are coming out or whatever, being able to say, you know, this person wants to be on my new listings. Maybe they unsubscribed for a while, they purchased the house, but they still want to get your newsletter. So, you know, those types of things will be available soon. So we're going to add newsletter, listings, and then opens for open houses. The question is, and if you would put into your, into the chat, actually, I've got some chat questions here. Something else. In the chat, if there's another grouping of the marketing style emails besides newsletter, besides listings, besides opens, what other grouping would you guys like to see in there? It's something we have to control. We have to put them in there because you're actually sending through our SendGrid account. And in the past, we've only had the marketing and the transactional. But if we add more, we want to make sure that we add the ones that are appropriate to you guys. If you guys have suggestions, send those in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, you know, put it into the comment area. That's fine. Or you can email me, mark@realvolve.com. Be happy to help you guys comply. We need to kind of add them all at once. So we're going to be doing that very soon. So if you are watching this and it's very old, there might be other ones on there, but definitely send those to me. I really want to know. Events, that's a good one. We do not allow you to do user-defined mailing names at this point. The potential for adding that down the road is there, but it's something that we have to figure out some back-end things that doesn't affect other users because everybody's using our SendGrid account. One option that we've talked about was allowing you guys just to create your own SendGrid accounts, which all we then need would be an API key or something to do that. So that may be something coming down the road. But events, that's a good one. If there's any others, I will make a note on events. All right. So that's that one. Okay, this one was kind of interesting. This was on the same channel, and I'm not sure when I said it or where I said it, but I said something about you can't send videos in your emails. And somebody had commented, so I can't send videos to my customers? Are you kidding me? So I think probably what I said, I meant to go back and re-listen to this. There is an HTML, all of our emails that we send are HTML-based emails. And an HTML tag that exists is called iframe. And what iframe does is on a website, if you use HTML to define a website, in a website, you could have your website, you could have a box, a certain area on your website that's called that's an iframe tag, and you can put other content in there, pretty much actually just like this is. So this video that we put in here is part of an iframe. It's basically saying put this website, in this case YouTube video, into our website, and it's using an iframe. The problem is whenever you're sending emails, Yahoo, Google, many others will actually strip out any kind of iframe tags. It'll just yank out the beginning and the ending frame information so that it yanks it out. And whenever it does that, it just doesn't appear. The video's not there. The reason is people can provide, can put content in an iframe that's a virus. And consequently, whenever an email is received that might have that, it could infect your computer. It has in the past, and then that's why they stripped them out several years ago, actually. So that's not possible. You can't use iframe. So if my comment was you can't use iframe to send videos, that's what probably this is coming from. What you can do, and this is important, is you can use GIF files instead as basically a moving type image that then opens up as a click, you open up to a real viewer. And that's exactly what BombBomb and Dub both do. If you have in Realvolve, if you have a BombBomb or a Dub account, you can use that. So let me just kind of show you that real quick. So here is a Dub example where I had created in my Dub account, I created a video, and you can see it's just like a 3 or 4 second clip of the image itself. The nice thing about this is using Dub or using BombBomb, they create that GIF file for you automatically. It's not something you have to physically do. Basically, you just create the video, it snags a little piece, and it throws it in and makes it available. It's the slickest thing. You can, if you wanted to, go to a YouTube channel. There are tools out there that will let you grab like a 6 seconds of frames of video and put that into a GIF file. At that point, you could put that link into your email and then assign a anchor tag to click on it and open it up. But that's a lot of steps. That's a lot of things. If it's something that you just set up once and you use it, okay, it certainly can be done, but it's something that does take a little bit of technical expertise with the Dub and BombBomb video type things. It's just a matter of, actually, let me just show you real quick here. Create a new template, author a new template. In this case, test Dub, and I will choose contact, just test. So this is what it kind of comes down to. There is a BombBomb icon. If you have a BombBomb account, you've put in our integration for BombBomb, you can do that. If you have Dub, and Dub is basically an add-on for your Chrome. It's a Chrome extension, and they add to our editor their icon. I worked with them and said, okay, this is how you do it. This is what you need to do. They did all the integration and stuff for this, which was really slick for us. But basically, you just come in here, you can click wherever maybe you've got some stuff that you've written, and right here you want to put a video. Okay, so you put your cursor in that place and you click on the Dub icon. It will come up with, because I'm logged in with Dub, it comes up in Chrome with this pop-up. I can use my webcam. Coming up, FaceTime, there we go. So here it is, I'm live, whatever, I can record this. They've got screen recording, they've got upload, they've got, you can actually use a YouTube link if you wanted to, and they can do the work for you. It's actually very slick. You can see all the activity and stuff that goes along with it. Or if you've got a library of videos that you can upload those, you can make those available and just put those in. Once once you've selected it, you say insert video, it does the process for you. So it puts the video and stuff right in there, and then you're good to go. So that's the slick part. You don't have to know any HTML or anything like that, but you can include videos within the system. So hope that made sense. Okay. And then, okay, so that was my last question of what we were presented. I did that a little bit quicker than I thought I would. So we've got some time. If you guys have additional questions, either about email, that'd be great. Ask those first. If you've got other questions, I'd be happy to go through anything. If you don't, we'll just cut this off a little early. Open to any questions.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
Hey, it's Jim Nypris.
Hey, sir.
I'll turn my video on because I just do. Anyways, so kind of off a different subject, and I've been dealing with Lisa, and I don't know if she got with you to ask you the question, but I was trying to do some zaps from a lead generation, and it's through a product called Back at You Media.
Back at You. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Now she said that she's unable to do a zap for this Back at You. So I run an ad with them. Let's say for a property listing. So I started running a new ad. It started yesterday, and I'm paying for it to go on, web and Facebook and things like that. So all of a sudden I start getting some leads coming in. So I know it's coming on the ad, and it is coming into my Realvolve account.
Okay.
So the lead generates and it flows in. It's a delay, but it does come into Realvolve. And I'm wondering, is it because it initially, maybe the lead went through the Facebook side of it? Because it's showing up in Realvolve. Yeah,
that's a great question. So whenever you set up zaps, typically you'll have some zaps that let me go into training. I think I've got a training. Zaps class, premium services. We use Zapier for all kinds of things. I don't see, they've renamed some of them. Basically, whenever you set up a zap, typically you're going to have something that, like here, I mean, we've got a lot of customers that use Follow Up Boss. So within Follow Up Boss, a lead could come in, they do all their stuff in Follow Up Boss. In your case, it's this Back at You, and then whatever information then gets put in here. The question might be for me, in understanding what your challenge is if you go into the item for your Facebook one, you should have something here for Facebook that then takes you into, brings that lead in to Realvolve. In the settings on that, on the action part of this, it's going to have like all your names and stuff. One thing that might be a question is are you tagging them as Facebook so that you know that they're coming from Facebook or not? Because if they're coming from something else, it wouldn't have a Facebook tag if you're doing that. Just to isolate it. Right. But the other possibility that a lot of people do is if you're getting an email, you may be using some kind of email parser in Zapier that once that email comes in, then it's grabbing the name, and whatever other information that's pertinent to it from the email that you're receiving, and then it's throwing it into Realvolve. But I'm not seeing, just going back to Zapier here, I'm not seeing a back at you.
Right. And Lisa said that it doesn't connect because we were trying to fix the Zap. She was trying to look for it.
Have you reached out to them to see if they have a Zap? Because they can create private Zaps.
And I think she did actually.
Okay. I can get with Lisa and find out what she's done. I don't know.
Well, again, she emailed me and said we can't create it because it's not setting up a workflow, so we can't set up a Zap. But yet here I started a new ad, and the leads are coming in and going right into Realvolve.
I'm betting that it is, whatever lead it probably is going through to your Facebook account. It's got to be going through something. And if you've got Facebook set up, it would make sense that it's doing that it's sending it. But it would be preferred probably to be able to send straight from them. One way of doing that would be setting up an email parser. If you're receiving an email that says, this person, this phone number, whatever information that's being received, you can set up a parser. There's a free one that comes with Zapier. Basically it says, okay, look for this piece of information and grab this piece of information. Find first name, grab the content, throw it into Realvolve's first name field. Find last name, whatever. The challenge becomes as if the format of that thing changes, or if it's not in a good format for parsing, that becomes a problem. But
yeah, that's what we were talking about, exactly that, because I've done the parser ones.
It's good, it works, but it does have a tendency to have challenges at times as well.
Gotcha.
Just because people change their formats, and if they change their format, then you have to go in there and say, well, that this has changed or whatever, and now I'm grabbing this part of the information instead of this.
So is there any way on the back end on the Realvolve side to see where this information is coming in?
Well, again, probably making sure that you're using the tags on anything that you are zapping in. I mean, it's got to be zapped in. We don't, other than a CSV import, we use zaps. That's the mechanism for bringing them in. So you must have some zaps set up somewhere. The Facebook one would make sense. If you've got other ones, maybe that. But I would definitely go into your Zapier account and find the Realvolve action part of this, and just make sure on the action that you've specified in the tags, and you can add multiple tags, but put in there, like this one here does say follow-up boss, because it's a follow-up boss zap. But if it's Facebook, if it's whatever it is, put that tag in there so that whenever that contact record is created, then it's added that tag to that record. At that same point, then you can start your workflow for that lead that's coming in and say, well, I want to start my back at you workflow, whatever you want to, whatever one that you want to use for that, and select it in that part, and then everything just kind of works automatically.
Yeah, but again, well, and again, if
we do have to figure out where's it coming from.
Yeah, because Lisa's she couldn't figure out where it was coming from.
I'll get with Lisa and just see what. And
it's fresh. I mean, this is a conversation we've been dealing with over the past week, so. it's kind of interesting. Take it another step real quickly. When you pay for the boosting, and it's supposed to go for this account to go to LinkedIn and that and web, and the only thing that's coming in is actually Facebook. It's like, okay, that tells me why would I continue to pay extra for these others that bring nothing?
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things. Anytime that you guys are doing any kind of lead generation, tracking that source, what is that source? And I said tag. The other option here is contact source, where you can pick from whatever you put in your sources as well. That one may be the other one. So whenever you go into your Realvolve account, let me just go to two different possibilities here. And because I'm sharing my screen, it's going slow here. Okay, so let me go into Mary Jones. These are all bogus ones anyway. So number one is, any tags are going to go into your tag area. If you're using that source field under the source details, it will be listed here as the source type. So, and you can do some filters on that source, whatever. The important thing is as those leads are coming in, identifying what are the sources. And if you're spending a lot of money on a particular source, not for this period. So go back. If you are spending a lot of money for a particular source and you're only getting 1% or less or whatever, and
right,
you know where you're spending it, that's going to be a huge advantage in saying, okay, I can get rid of these other things.
Sure.
Or at least reduce them significantly and move that spend to the one that's actually working more for you.
Right. And one of the things that we were dealing with, because we talked about that actually, and I had to go through the workflows, make the information more generic that was going out in the first response, because obviously if it's, I got your information from XYZ, when we don't really know what XYZ is, so the email goes out stupid. It just makes no sense. I put in like back at you media, because that was just, to me, my contact source. I checked that off, and then all of a sudden the email goes, hey, I got your information from back at you media. And I'm sure they're going, what's that? Because then I happened to go on, find the link to it, and it took me to a completely different website that didn't mention back at you media. So we changed it up to make it very generic.
Using a third-party application to send out your content, they typically will have tools to show you, but unfortunately, it may not be as clear whenever they're doing their integration.
Right.
Which can be a challenge.
So just putting in the tag Facebook, but then Facebook could be coming from a different product.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. And maybe if you can identify, like using the mail parser or whatever, you can enhance that a little bit by just saying, okay, if this email comes in, check for the email address and know that it's this particular field. So maybe it's come in from some other source, but the mail parser just adds in additional information that can then be an enhancing feature of what you've already got. Something to think about.
Yeah,
because you can update existing contacts. Well, it's one of the nice things whenever you're putting this in. We do check for duplicates by using the home mobile number and the home email address. If either one of those exists in your database already, we will update the existing record. So if an email, first off, if Facebook was to come in, fill in the information, you get your contact in there and it says it's from Facebook. But you know that you get an email. You could come in with that email using that same email address of that person and update the record, and then add the back at you saying, yeah, at least I'm getting this from the back at you as well. So you could have multiple zaps doing some stuff if you wanted to. I've done some crazy stuff with zaps. It's an amazing tool. It's just a matter
Well,
of,
and again, so just again, maybe with the conversation with Lisa, because we both were trying to figure out how do we add a workflow, because we don't really know where it's coming from at this point.
yeah.
You know, unless we automate everything that comes in from Facebook with the workflow of the one RV buyer, you know.
Yeah.
That
Let me get with Lisa. I'll get with Lisa on that and see
I appreciate it, because it's very frustrating.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Just a couple more minutes left anyway. All right, guys. Well, let me see what else I had on here. Pretty much everything else was just last week. If you, again, if you're watching this and you haven't watched that first last week's video on the setting up of the authentication, definitely do that. It has to be done. I think we did also cover in that some spam checking stuff, just to make sure that you're in compliance with specific emails, being able to check that. That was good stuff. I had several comments on that has worked well for them. So glad that's there. For those people that need help on stuff and don't feel like you can do it, we do have premium services. Make sure that you guys check them out. Because you come to this, we can give you a 25% off on that. And then we've got all kinds of help and stuff that's available. So definitely reach out, do the things that you need to do to get your help in the event that it's off hours. But our YouTube channel's out there, our help's out there. There's just a lot of abilities for getting 2 additional resources. So hope that's helpful. Guys,
Mark?
thank you so much. Oh, yes.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute and it was not
doing it. Okay.
So I watched a webinar on this DMARC and DKIM and SPF. And I called up my domain tech support, and I thought I was all set. And then while you were talking to James, I went in and did the Google verification, and it was not verified. So I put in the code in my TXT records.
Okay.
And I'm verified now. But now I'm wondering, what do I not know? What else do I not know? Is there a way to check to see if I'm authenticated, or do I need to do the same thing with Yahoo that I did with this Google code?
Once you have set it up in your domain, your DNS server, that this email, this subdomain, or this domain is mine, and they use the same verification, the DMARC, it's all done kind of behind the scenes at that point. It just has to know that it's there. So once you have that piece set up, going into the Postmaster tools is an option. There was another one that we covered. Actually, let me just go to it real quick. So okay, here, email compliance validator. In last week's stuff, we talked about this. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. So in your TXT for your DMARC record, it has to have this DMARC1, it has to have this, and Yahoo, Google, they all reference this, so no big deal. The main things here for your CNAME entries those just identify that SendGrid, which is who we send through, is an authenticated authorized person or company to be able to send on your behalf. So as long as this information exists, because it gets sent through the email has this information, it checks it back and checks to make sure it's there. Yes, I can send it, and you're all good. The thing that you can do to check to make sure these are set up right and how the DMARC is processed is using the DMARC actually, is it right there? Okay. This Valamail piece right here. And what you can do is, we've specified that you want to put at least this first part in there, basically saying, yes, we're DMARC. And the none just says, don't worry about doing anything if just notify us if something happens. And this mail to piece right here, this basically sends an email to the Valamail people. You could actually send it to yourself. You could add the mail to be your own email. And if somebody tries to send an email on your behalf, but you've not set them up in the DMARC, you'll get an email back saying, hey, this got sent. What do you want to do with it? This P-none just says, go ahead and send it. Don't worry about it, but just notify me. There is the ability to say, put it in spam, quarantine it, or don't send it. Don't allow it at all. It just deletes it.
Okay.
So this Valamail may be another step for you that allows you to monitor your own domain to make sure people aren't sending things on your behalf and you don't know it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll go back and watch the February 7th one.
Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff that we didn't cover in today's, and be good for you to watch it. Unfortunately, I'm wordy. I apologize. I am long-winded. I think I take that from a family member, but in either case.
Actually, you're very easy to understand, and you always answer the questions that I have before I have to ask them. So I really appreciate these sessions.
Good. All right, guys. It is time. Thank you guys for attending today. If there's any particular topic that you want to cover, certainly reach out, send me an email, mark@Realvolve, and we'll cover it. I just thought these questions, because it's so pertinent with and important for your emails, that it was important for you guys to get the additional details. So have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.